remember, you can always join the classroom. If you look up in the postings earlier in the day, you can see the link to the live classroom, but you can definitely see everything on Facebook. It's just hard to talk back and forth to me on Facebook. Definitely ask your questions, any questions you might have. Don't ever hesitate to do that. But I won't get to them during the live. I'll get to them after. As always, I'm going to turn off this camera about me, and you're just going to see my hands. Only because I stand up and then you only get to see like this part of me, and that's not attractive. So, hello, hello. Tonight we are back to our standard simple sketch to card process. I love this format. I hope it works well for you too. It helps me to do the measuring before I get to the card. So I'm going to start with the card base, which is an A2 card, which means that when folded, it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Oh, good, Susan. I have to come up with some more imaginative ones. I've been kind of sticking to the standard one for a while, but we've got some new ones coming. So here's my card base, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then my pattern paper layer is 4, that's not the right one. Well, if it is, it isn't cut right. All right, well, let's work on that. It should be 4 by 5 1/4. So this looks like I didn't do that. So let me just grab my trimmer. And I want this to be 4 by 5 1/4. I do, Debbie. Sometimes Debbie asked the question, do you ever do top folding? Last night we did top folding. But you could use the same pattern and just flip it. So if you, let's talk about what I'm using. I'm using the Pick a Pattern paper. It has the really cool paper in the back on both sides. So if you are doing this for kids and you want the dinosaurs, or if you flip it over, you get this really great. And then this one that I used on the sample card was on the back of this black and white. So this has some really, really cool patterns. I'm also using but since you asked, Debbie, I'll make sure that I add some more. I love requests, so please put them out there. I'm also using the cardstock that coordinates the cardstock pack, and that comes with Emerald Envy, the Basic Black, the Whisper White, Sahara Sand, and Flirty Flamingo comes in that pack. We're going to be using the Flirty Flamingo ink and the Sahara Sand. If you were part of my paper share, then you got this so that you know what colors kind of go with it. If not, you can always ask and I'll be happy to help you. Or if you look in the catalog, you can see the colors. They're listed in there. I didn't make those up. And then we're using, I'm going to move these papers out of the way so they don't get distracting. Then we are using the Colorful Seasons bundle. And this is a big bundle. So let's just kind of take a look at what's in here first. I have my Thinlits, and I took up 2 different magnetic sheets. These are my magnetic sheets, and I'm going to do a video on these this week. So if you haven't seen me using these and you're not quite sure what the deal is, I'll have it posted in the next couple days. But anyway, these are magnetic sheets. They work really, really great, and there's a ton of Thinlits on here. And then we have a double set of stamps. Me too, Susan. This whole set is really, really useful. And if you look on the front, you can get a sense of what you have. And they're double layered, just like the ones that we talked about last night. So you've got the outline of the leaf, which is this one. So it's a salt. Am I frozen to you? I'm sorry. What is going on? Hold on. I don't know what is happening. I'm not liking that. You keep losing me. Let me see what I can do. My iPad is not happy tonight. I don't know why. It doesn't usually shut off. You know what I did? I updated. I bet I have to go into my settings. Hold on just a sec. Let me do that. I'm going to leave for a second. But I got to go to settings to tell it not to turn off ever. It says don't shut off ever. Okay, never mind. I thought that's what I had it doing. I should be back now. Am I back now? Okay. Phew. I don't know. Let's everyone just say nice things to the iPad. Don't be doing that. Okay. So this is this leaf. So this is not a leaf I could color because this is going to be a full stamp of that leaf, right? But this leaf I could because this is just outlined and I could color in that. We'll talk about these when we get closer to fall. We're not going to be doing these today. Today, we are using the deck chair and the canvas sling. All right, so I'm going to move those guys out of the way. I have all of them out on my blocks. So here's the chair and the sling. I also used, bring this back, I also used this branch with the coordinating flowers. So I thought I'd talk about those. And then I used the thinking of you. Okay, so I could use the yellow, but you know what? I think I might use the dinosaurs just because they're really cute. Even though it might not be for a little person, the dinosaurs are really cute. Before I send this off, though, I wanted to show you. This is what's going off to Lana. This is the pieces and patterns. And if you look, you can see this is the dinosaur that matches the paper. And then you have this really cute bear. All of these are images from this paper that I just put down behind me. Let me bring it back up so that you can see. So if you like these papers, see there's the flower. You might want to pick up this set. These are really great for our scrapbookers or memory keepers of any variety. You've got your cameras, your Polaroids, and you've got those of us that remember the Polaroid back in the day. What else do we have? The mushroom is right here, right? So you have all these really great stamps that coordinate with it. You have a pencil for this pattern paper, the dinosaur. Oh, then these guys are super cute, and that's where the bear comes from. These right there. Okay, so just sometimes you look at this and you think, no, it doesn't do too much for me. But when you look at what it goes with, think about cute little note cards and just popping these, do a little 3x3 and use the pattern paper. And then you've got these cute little stamps to go on it, and it's got why thank you, enjoy today, wild about you, and hello there. So this is pieces and patterns, and this is what Lana won last night. Okay. So back to our sizes. I need a white that's 3 and 4.5 before the scallops. And you're wondering, what is she talking about? Let me show you. In this set of Thinlits, we also get, this is one of the cuts, and I love it. So I'm going to bring Mr. Big Shot over. And this is that piece that I said was, and you can see that it's a little bit longer on the card. It's because I cut it at 4.5 and then I add the scallop to it. So it really would come out a 3x4, but I need room for the scallop. So I pop this on here, and I'm going to put this piece down. And I'm actually going to go this way. It will fit across, but it's really tight. So I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to try and figure out where do I want the swoops to be along the bottom. So if I do it like this, you'll see that I'm going to get a half, and you want to make sure that you're nice and straight. I'm going to end up with a half out here. That's what this did. It gave me a half a circle. You're just going to play with this till you get it. I want to show you the first one I did and why I added. I did this at 4 inches the first time, and I didn't leave and I stamped first too, and I didn't leave myself enough room to swoop. So you want it at 3 by 4.5, and then you can cut off because it's not really lining up with anything, but that's basically the size that you want. Then you're going to put this through. And this is a piece of Whisper White that I'm using on the top. Clearly, any color will work. And then you get this really cute scalloped edge of your paper before you start to work. Right? Super easy. If you were using this, you could use this as a border by continuing on. Whatever will fit through here, you could use. So you could do a nice 4-inch border on the bottom if you were doing a longer 12 by 12. Okay, so here's my card, and here's this, right? Now, as much as I like these dinos, they don't really show when I have all this stuff on the top. So I'm probably going to flip you over. Now, I said I was going to use Flirty Flamingo, but because I'm going to use this side, I'm going to grab my crushed curry, which goes with this, and this chair is going to have a crushed curry because I am a matchy-matchy kind of person. I'm going to put this down first. Certainly I could have used the Flirty Flamingo, it would have been okay, but I like to match. All right, so now my card's ready for the top part, and I need my stamping mat. Here you are. And the first thing I'm going to do is my chair base, and I'm going to do that in the Sahara sand. I could do it in any color. Sometimes these deck chairs look really cool in bright colors. You want to make sure that you've got good coverage. So look down at your stamp before you put it down. Make sure that you've got good coverage. And now you're tempted to go like this. Well, then my chair is kind of tilting in the air. So you want to tip it a little bit so that your feet are level. And I just have to be able to see what I'm doing from up here. Okay. And commit. And that's where my chair is going. Okay. So there's my chair. Remember, there's nothing wrong in stamping. If you do something that's a little bit off, it's okay. Then someone's going to know that you actually made it. And they're going to be even more impressed. It doesn't have to look like it was printed with a computer. You're a human. And then whoops, I'm not using Flirty Flamingo, am I? I wanted crushed curry. I would have been okay with that, but crushed curry. And now this one, I want to make sure that I have a good coverage of it because it's a full-on image. You can kind of see I have a little bit of bubbles in the middle. This is a pretty wet stamp pad. It's relatively new. And then I'm going to line it up and see this little niche there? That's going to go right there. That's where the leg of the chair comes in. See it on here? Now, if I'm off a little, the world does not come to an end. But I'm going to try to make that sit on there. Good solid. Now, not bad, but my ink pad is a little wet, so I'm getting this kind of extra amount of ink on there. I'm going to live with it. I'm not going to try and, do something dramatic to it, but because this is really wet, I'm going to take my plastic spoon and kind of push it down a little. A plastic spoon works good because then it doesn't get all over you. Just a disposal, you know, one for the ice cream, and just kind of mush it down in, and it will help it not be so wet. You can wipe some off, but I don't really want to waste it. So I would do that. I can also, if I'm concerned about it, now see this has that, you can see the blob right there. So I don't really like the blob. I'm going to bring my Stampin' Scrub in and clean it, and I'm going to try again and see. But I'll show you a couple different things that you can do if your ink pad is too wet. I mean, having too much ink is really not, it's probably a better problem to have too much than too little. But you don't always want it to do that. I didn't have to push quite so hard, and I'd have had better luck. So let's try that again. So I'm twisting, and you can see that I don't really, I still have a little bit down here. So let's try wiping it off a little. I tend to get a little bit more, but let's see what happens when I just not push so hard. Still getting extra there. So what I could do is I could stamp again. Let's try, let me try one more way. I want to make sure that I'm starting fresh here. And let's just try patting, no twisting, and see if I get a better, and I do. Okay? So when I was twisting it, I was picking up too much, but just on this part. If I just pat on a super moist ink pad and then stamp, I get a much better look. Okay? So honestly, when things like that happen, I'm actually pretty glad, because this could happen to you at home and you would think that you were a total stamping goop up, and you're not. It just happens. It didn't ruin this chair. In fact, I kind of like those looks. It looks like a really worn chair, and I kind of like it. But if I didn't, I could flip it over and start again. Or I could start again. It's just a little piece of white paper, right? Not the end of the world. I'm going to keep this out because I'm going to do my flowers to match. Of course I am. So the next thing I want is my branch. And here's my branch. And that is going to go with the Sahara sand. Now this is kind of cool. When you put this down, you'll see, I kind of want to cover up my boo-boo. See my boo-boo right there? I kind of want to cover it up. So I'm going to go over here a little bit more than I did on the other one. I've got that yellow on there, but we can live with it, don't worry. And then I've got my flowers, which I'm not going to twist on these either. And you kind of have to line up this flower right here in the space. And you can see where that, oh no, I'm sorry, it's the second one in. Yeah. You start with the ones out at the end, and these two are going to go on those two branches. And then these three go on these three branches. And you kind of twist it till you get it. And when you get those guys there, you can see that you can also get this flower, the second one in. And that's what the clear stamps are best for. And then commit. Just do it. If it's off, the world, again, doesn't come to an end. It's pretty good. I must say so myself. So, whoops, hold on. See what we've got? Now, that little look that I did, I can live with it. It's not the end of the world. If I was sending it to a really fussy friend, I might start again. But I could live with it. It's really okay. I just have to be careful that I don't touch this blob because it's going to get on me. What else could I do? Let's see if this makes it worse. Let's grab our blender pen. I don't want the aqua. I don't want more liquid. And let's see if we can't drag some of this back. Most of it's dry now. Yep, it's pretty much dry. So I'm okay with it. You might be able to do that. You might be able to blot a little bit off or just start again. Okay. Now I need my sentiment, which I'm going to use the thinking of you. And I'm going to bring this in so it fits between my chair and my blossoms. Thinking of you. Now I'm done inking. The next thing I did was I thought I wanted some ribbon, but it was just too much because this is such a delicate little card. So I went with the twine. And I started with a piece on this end, and I went around and around, and then I tied a knot. Now, if you are having a hard time with a knot, you can leave yourself a little bit bigger string and then just cut it off. I don't cut it from the twine though, because it's easier to adjust and not waste. And then I cut the twine when I'm done. All right. Now I'm going to flip you over. And I need to make sure that I get my adhesive on my twine so it sticks too. Now the twine is raising the top part up a little. I didn't on this one, but I'm going to add dimensionals on the bottom because I think that would look better. And kind of level it off a little. Maybe one right in here. You're not supposed to do that. My fingers stuck to the twine. So I can put it back on. I didn't do that the last time I did this either. But you know what? It always happens live. Get back down there. Okay. Now, bring you back. And now we have two thinking of you cards. Right, Susan? Yes, I did that on purpose so I could show you how to fix it. I really do like that things don't go perfect. Sometimes I break out in a cold sweat and I wonder later, when is this going to be okay? But, so two totally different cards, but not really. All right? Okay. So let's just do one more. But I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to bring in, this is one of the invitations. They come in the card pack. You get the envelopes and the invitations. They're smaller. They're not your A2 size. These are 3.5 by 5. And I just added some of the daisy pattern paper to it. But I'm going to use some of the cool things in this bundle that you might even not really think about. So let me just show you how quick and easy you can do this. This also has this adorable Adirondack chair, okay? So I'm going to grab my white, a piece of Whisper White. Maybe. I am. And I'm going to trim that down because I don't need a whole one. And when you have a die like this and you want to know, well, how big a piece do I need? You can just pop it on here. So 2 inches by maybe 2.5 will be enough. So you don't have to, great for your scraps, but let's just do this for right now. So 2 inches by 2.5. And then we're going to bring in a big shot. And then pop our chair. Where do you see this chair? You're going to love it. Isn't he cute? Let's move this. This is the reason I bought this set, honestly, was this die. And then I saw the other cool things. So you just have to get these little pieces out. Your little brush will work, but you can also just kind of flick it and it comes out. Remember, this is the brush that I tend to forget 99% of the time. The brush and the little foam pad. It's great for super detailed ones. This is going to be a simple, really just standalone card. It can do anything. You could make an entire set of these really quick. And I'm going to grab my Tranquil Tide. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use black. Basic black. And this is another part of the set that I absolutely love. And it's good size. It is the, I've used this one before. It's the Just Breathe. And you can see it's going to fit on my card. So, I'm going to stamp first and add my chair later. And because of the simplicity of this, now this is not as wet an ink pad, so I can twist this and not get the issue, and sometimes that works better. Again, look down, make sure you have a really good solid inking before you go ahead. And now I'm going to put this down here. And then my chair is going to go up here. And this is one of those cards that's just so super simple and to the point. And sometimes this is what I need to remember. But just really, and honestly, you don't even need to really put anything on it. This is another one of those invitation cards. And let's just put the Just Breathe. And it is such a simple note card, ready for someone who really just needs a little note from you. And you think you have to get really complicated, but this is one of those stamps that can stand on its own, right? Ooh, Debbie, that's a good idea. And put a chair inside. Maybe put 2 chairs for the 2 of you. That's a great idea. Debbie says put a Tranquil Tide chair inside. All right? So don't stop to think that you have to make them really complicated. Another way that you can add a little something to it, again, this is all from the Daisy pattern, which I love as well. It looks a little more tranquil. If you haven't already glued them down, I did this a couple days ago. I don't know if it's going to let me take it up. Let's see if it'll let me take part of it up. Okay. Then, remember our ribbon share. We have this really great group of ribbons, right? Okay, so let me stamp first before I get to my ribbon. Another Just Breathe. Clearly, you would want to stamp before you glue it down, but I can live with it. And then I'm going to take no, not you. Whoops. I wanted, where is it? This one, the ombre one. This one. And I'm going to tuck it underneath. Now, a couple ideas. If you're trying to save your ribbon, you don't necessarily need a piece of ribbon all the way across the back. So what you can do is take your ribbon. You're going to have enough to tuck underneath. I'm going to take a kind of in the middle-ish and take 2 bunny tails. Remember these when you were teaching your kids how to tie shoes? 2 bunny tails, and around they go and through the hole. Right? Line this ribbon up so you get a good bow, exactly what you want. Pull it nice and tight. Okay? Now you're going to need regular old tape. You can use washi too, but if you have regular tape, it works. You flip this piece. Now I would do it before I glued it down, but since I already glued it down, I don't have that choice. You're going to tuck this around to the back, just the tail, right? And use your tape and tape that down. And then pull this over. Snip. Now we're going to put our adhesive back down. I'm doing this totally, I'll show it to you on a piece that isn't already attached. So it doesn't have to look this complicated. You don't have to be like putting it on in a shirt. My grandmother used to have a saying about like sewing a pocket on a shirt. And I never knew what she was talking about. What she meant was sewing a pocket on a shirt that was already on somebody. It took me years to figure out what she was talking about. Okay? All right, so let's do this, but we're not doing it backwards. But anywho, that's the idea. So let's do one more that we're not doing it backwards. We're going to start with, these are the invitations that I'm talking about. They come in Whisper White and the Ivory. And they come with matching envelopes. They're great to have on hand because they're just, well, handy, but they're also great because you never know when you need just a couple of really quick note cards. They're great to make gifts with. They are packs of, just drop the instructions. How many do you have? 20. And I don't know how much they are, but they come with the coordinating envelopes. They're already scored. All right. So let's see. We decided these are 3.5 by 5. So I'm going to, I thought I had a bunch of these already cut, but I'm going to take a piece. This is from Daisy Delight. It has glue on the back now, so it's going to be weird. So it's 2 3/4, and I'll put these measurements on the, I'll put them up on the blog for you, 4.5, so you don't have to remember these things. And let's do the same thing. We're going to stamp on this one. The black works good on all the pattern papers. It really does. But you could do it with, if I do it in a light color, it's not going to show. And this is a darker one. I think this one's going to be trickier to see than the other two that we just did. But you know, hey, we got to experiment. All right, so just breathe. Yeah, that one's tough to read, but you can see it. And then we're going to grab our ribbon. Same idea. 2 loops around and through. And then you're just going to fuss with it till you get the bows to look the way you want it. Right? Set it on here. Now you can grab a glue dot if you want to make sure that the bow stays exactly where you want it. And if I do glue dots, I put one on the knot. And then I usually put one on the back of each of the bows too. Come on, stick to you, please. No, you only want to stick to me. All right, we'll get back to you. And I want you about there. And then I'm going to bring this to the back. Now, if you really, you know, remember Stampin' Up! Has the collection of little bows that you can buy already pre-made for you. Those are great too. But this works good if you have the ribbon. Nice and straight. Come over here. And trim. And you don't waste as much ribbon as going around it. So you can kind of save your ribbon a little bit. And it will stay in place. And then the tape's not going to show because it's behind it. And then we are ready. And then once you get this on, you can fuss with the bow a little bit. But it's just a great, simple note card. Okay? And I showed you my favorite things from this stamp set, but I promise you I will show you more and more and a few more this week. So we have this one, we have this one, and we have this one. In like, what, 10 minutes? Not even? Super fast, super easy. And they look great. Easy to do. This one is just playing with the pattern paper. That's so pretty. And it's just enough. This one is adding your favorite die. I'm having a hard time that he's crooked. Yeah, I feel better. Okay, and again, there's other things in here that would go alongside this that you could put on here too. There's a really great little glass of lemonade. Okay, all right. That's it for tonight. Have a great night. I can't wait to see what some of your cards look like, so be sure and share them with me, and I will see you all soon. You are so welcome. I'll see you anytime now. You are very welcome. Good night.